What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Man, I know for a fact, I know for a fact that y'all gonna go off on me for popping on here at 1 o'clock in the morning. How you gonna start a live stream at 1 o'clock in the morning to ask a silly question like this? Well, the thing is, question might be silly. I just want to know what y'all think. You know, one of my nicknames is the Time Traveler. I actually had an album called The Time Traveler many, many years ago. And I'll give you my view on time travel after we kind of touch into some of the traditional um, views on it and concepts of it and what y'all think about it. But I apologize for coming on this late. But even though I came on real late, that don't stop me from telling y'all to hit that like button as you come into the room. Come into the room. We're already getting some opinions. You know, people coming in expressing their opinions. So this is going to be interesting because I'm going to go a lot off of what y'all think. And so I'm already kind of seeing it. You got a yes. Somebody just started laughing. Somebody said it's not silly. Somebody said maybe. I'm doing good tonight, Mars. Indeed. Fat Texas said, I used to have a time traveler poster on the wall. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had an album called Time Traveler. And y'all hit that like button, man. If you're in here, click that thumbs up. If you're in here, click that thumbs up. We don't, my mind doesn't function well with disproportion, the disproportion look from the participants to the likes. Let's get some symmetry. I need to see some numerical symmetry on the screen. So if you are in here right now, just click that thumbs up, that like button. There we go. Y'all come on with it. And so I'm asking the question, man, you right there, you talking to you. Yes, I am. You. And then K-Rino, you got to be really bored to want to talk about this at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're right. Well, time travel is just the so-called ability to be able to, you as an individual in some form and fashion, to be able to go back into time to revisit past events and past periods of time, or to revisit. I'm gonna hold that one. I ain't gonna say that right now. Or to travel into the future to see either what's going to take place in the future, or um, yeah, to see what's going to take place in the future. Just to travel into the future, right? So that's basically time travel as we know it in a nutshell. You know, when what people think about when they hear the term time travel. Now, a lot of physicists and people of that ilk, they have interesting theories on it. Some tend to believe that it is possible. Some don't necessarily believe that it's possible. Some have um, laid out serious equations that they believe would make it possible for for time travel to be a reality. Um, but we're gonna find out what y'all think tonight. And again, please don't let me forget, y'all. I'm asking y'all a question as y'all hit that like button. Please don't let me forget to give you my theory on time travel. To give you my theory on how it may be possible. Now, this is not anything I read. I did not read this anywhere. I'm not saying that I'm the only person who's ever come up with this. I don't know. This is just something that entered my mind, but this does not come from any spiritual or theological concepts. This is just something that came into my mind, but I'll hold that, for later on. I'm still reading y'all comments. Some of y'all are saying possibly. Some MC Josiah says, I think in some forms it exists. It could be possible after death. Dimensional dream hopping. We're getting some interesting stuff in here already. Hamp Bailey says, I don't. So you say you don't believe in it, but you say you've been close. I don't understand how you can say you don't believe in time travel, but you say you've been close to time traveling. Make me understand. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what you're saying. Straight Savage says time is an illusion. I've heard people say that. Some people have said that time doesn't even exist. Some people don't believe in the concept of time. I read where somebody said that time is a man-made construct. Explain how time is an illusion. Somebody make me understand how time is an illusion. I'll get into some other stuff. The Real Hungry Joe, salute. I appreciate the love. I'm just loading up, y'all. Then we're going to go into some things. Now, one thing you got to understand is that in one aspect, I would say that we all agree that time travel exists in one particular aspect. And that is when you just live your life, right? Meaning that every second that you live, you are moving forward through time. You're moving forward through time. Because if you're watching this now, that means that you were alive 24 hours ago, 18 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 5 hours ago. You were alive, but you were not in the space of time 5 hours ago that you are in right now. So in that regard, just me, you are moving forward through time. Would we agree with that? Would we agree with that, class? Who disagrees with that? I'm writing some stuff down that y'all are saying. Frank says everything was impossible until somebody did it. Some things are easier to do than other things. So yeah, so we're moving forward. You are time traveling as we speak. Because even as I do this live stream right now, the first thing that happens when I start this live stream, there's a counter. There's like a little counter clock that I'm looking at right now. And from the second that I begin and initiate the live stream, it starts at 0. Then it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. And just like that, as those increments of time are counting off, by the time it's at 0, by the time it gets to 3 or 4, I'm no longer in the space I was when I was at 0. I'm 4 seconds into the future, which now becomes the present, which 1 second ticks on. Now it's the past. So we are moving forward throughout time. But the problem is, I'm going to come to your comment in a minute, Vince. The problem is the argument comes in where people start to debate not whether you can go forward, but to go back in the time. Remember what the record says? They say, what we're going to do right now is go back, way back in the time. So the argument comes in when people want to know, can you go back in the time to visit past events, to a time where things that may no longer exist in your present, you go back to a time where those things existed. Your grandmother is still alive. This is the theory. This ain't me talking. This is the theory. Back there, grandmama's still alive. Back there, gas was only 97 cents a gallon. Back there, you had a whole lot of money. You was balling 25 years ago, and you was doing good. You had a lot of money. Money that you've long since tricked off in some form and fashion. Now you're sitting here today and like, oh. And what makes us have the desire to want to go back? A lot of times, people who have regrets in life, who have lived lives where the accumulation of multiple regrets and regretful situations have weighed on their brains to the point where you start to think, man, if I could just go back, and if I could do that again, man, boy, oh man, if I could just relive that. So that creates a desire on that level to want to go back in the time. Go back in the time and do what? Go back in the time and correct the things that you currently regret. So in your mind, you like, man, if I could go back, I would have never hooked up with my baby mama. And somebody say, well, what about your child, man? You know, man, I love my child, but whew, I would try to make a child with somebody else, man. I would not. There are people who would eliminate their own children. Like, if I can go back in time tomorrow, I'm paying way too much I'm paying child support on 5 children from 4 different baby mamas. If I could go back, I would go back and I wouldn't deal with none of them. And now I would be in the current time and I wouldn't be so financially strangled. That's one of the things, or some of the things, that make us wish we could go back, because we made mistakes. But do we value the possibility of correcting past mistakes in the present just through current actions that will plant seeds that will have a positive effect on your situation in the future? Or does that sound like too much work? Let's get some understanding tonight. Because if you could go back, if you could embrace the concept of correcting what you did back then, not by traveling back to alter the course of history, alter the pages, rewrite the page of history based on what you would do. Would it make more sense to just say, what can I do now? The past is done. What can I do now to make my future a lot better than my current? So to focus on the time travel, the aspect of time travel that focuses on the inevitable, which is you moving forward. That's the inevitable. That you get hit by a bus tomorrow. But that's the inevitable, that you're going to move forward naturally. Because as the time goes 10, 11 seconds, 12, 13, you're moving forward through time. And you're acting on things on a daily basis. And if you are not wasting the time, if you are being what's called productive with the time, then now you have the opportunity to fix whatever's wrong with you. So that's one thing. Another thing is scientists and people who are interested in that type of stuff like me, it's not necessarily about going back to fix regretful situations. It's more just about the curiosity of wondering if traveling back in time is indeed a realistic possibility. Just curiosity, like, man, that's an interesting thing. But it gets twisted up because there are so many other avenues and roads and conversations that go along with the concept of time travel. Like when people have that conversation, and one of my favorite TV shows of all time is The Twilight Zone. And in The Twilight Zone, they talk about this. I think I talked about this another time. I can't remember, but I think I did. There was a man who was sitting at the table with some of his friends. They were playing cards or whatever. And they got on the subject of time travel. And they started asking about, do y'all think it's possible? What if you could, what if you could, what if you could? And this one guy, some kind of spell came over him. And in that spell, he found himself traveling back in the time into like 2 or 3 different historical moments. One historical moment was right before the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. So in his current, he existed around 1963, which is around the time that the Twilight Zone was actually on the air. The actual time that it was on the air was from the late 50s to maybe the mid 60s. So this particular episode took place in 1963. So he was traveling back about 100 years to the day. Roughly, because Lincoln got assassinated in 1865. Was it 1865? So roughly 100 years back, give it like take or whatever. But he went back to where he was on the scene. He was right there. And he was staying in the very same hotel as the man who assassinated Abraham Lincoln, a man by the name of John Wilkes Booth. And he realized where he was and what was going on and understood the time he was in. And he was trying to warn everybody. He was trying to tell people, listen, man, President Lincoln's going to be assassinated tonight. You got to get the word to him. You got to get the word to him. And while I was watching this episode, and following it, an interesting thought came into my mind. Because us as people, this is how we are. As he's explaining to them or trying to appeal to them, hey man, y'all got to do something. This guy is going to assassinate President Lincoln. The people who he's telling this to, they're like, what's wrong with you? Where are you getting this from? Like, even to the point of thinking, there's something wrong with this dude. Something ain't right. John Wilkes Booth somehow overheard him giving these warnings out to the people. You know, the storyline, guys, where John Wilkes Booth shows up in his room and knocks him out or something, whatever. So he goes on and assassinates President Lincoln. And when it happens, the guy wakes up and like, I told y'all. He just was stressed out. And now the people were like, how did you know that? But the point is, if you were able to go back and you started doing and saying things, right? How many people would really believe what you were saying? With you having the absolute knowledge of what you were saying, you know it's going to happen because it happened. You know it. You went back. You time traveled. So if somebody works at the Oklahoma City, the federal building in 1990, what year was that when Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols blew up the federal building in Oklahoma? What year was that? Early 90s. If you went in telling people, don't go to work today, they're going to blow up the building, a lot of people are going to die. Don't go to work. Please don't go to work. Don't go to work. 9/11. Don't go to work, man. Do not go to the World Trade Center. Hey, man, it's going to be a terrible thing. It's going to happen, man. Thousands of people are going to die. How many people would listen? If you get on the news channel, you somehow just listen to me, please. You call the news station up and you try to tell them, how many people would listen? Or would they chalk you up to being, this crazy man? And that's a big scale. That's something big that a person might really want to try to stop. I'm not even talking about your homeboy that got shot because he went to this spot and you was like, man, this is where my homie got shot, man. If I could just, you thinking now, if I could, man, if I wish I could have got to him and just told him not to go, man, come hang out with me tonight. So now you got that chance. Would he have actually hung out with you, or would he have said, man, chill out, man, I'm good. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. Because people can tell other people, this has nothing to do with time travel. How many people, how many of y'all are watching this right now have had people in your life to call you and tell you about premonitions that they had about you? People have called and said, hey, man, I don't know what's going on, man, but you might want to just chill tonight, man. I just feel something, man. Don't be too out there, man. Or even you yourself have had a feeling about places and things and people, and then you decide, I'm gonna chill, I ain't going. And then when you don't go, you hear later on that something crazy happened. It happens. It's all about listening to whoever is telling you, or listening to yourself if you're the one telling, or somebody listening to you. Long story short, going back, while it could possibly make a difference and alter some things, it's not guaranteed that it would. So if you knew about 9/11 before it happened, and what if you were one of the people who feel like 9/11 was an inside job, right? How many people believe that 9/11 was an inside job? Raise your hand. Y'all scared? Don't be scared. They can only see me. They can't see y'all. Well, maybe they can. Okay. So a lot of people raising their hand to believe that 9/11 was an inside job. So you go back in time. You go back to September 11, 2001. No, you go back to September the 10th, the night before, 2001. You just like the man in Twilight Zone. You please don't. I'm telling you, don't go to work. Don't go to. They're gonna blow up the World Trade Center. Regardless of who you believe did it or how it was done, it happened, right? Then, if you start talking too much, you start saying, "Well, see, man, no, what it is, man. See, you know, it's an inside job, man. The government is trying to create a false flag event that will justify them going to war." You go into all those details, right? Somebody who knows that you're telling the truth is going to be watching you on the news going, wait a minute, how does dude know? Who is that? Got to get this dude off the street. Go get him. Because we're not going to let him stop. So now they'll do what they do with everybody else. They're either going to smother the story or they're going to paint you out to be crazy. Some crazy man was saying, they might not even report it. Because if they say some crazy man was running the streets, running around the streets in front of the World Trade Center on a tent saying, please don't come to work. He was standing in front of the building that morning. Please don't come in this building. Please don't come in this building. They will remove you off the scene instantly. So what I'm really trying to ask is, would going back really make a difference? And what if it did? What if you did go back? We've had this conversation before. When you talk about like what they call that, the butterfly effect. We've had this conversation. What if you were able to persuade and alter by whatever you went back to say and try to do, it worked. And now you sent the whole thing in a different direction. Would that direction be for the better? Or would it make things worse? The same dude who wanted to go back in time so he wouldn't meet his crazy baby mama. So now he has no children. Maybe those children that he had slowed him down. Maybe he was wild. Maybe he was out there in these streets to where now he's still out in the streets like that, and something happens to him. Now he's not even in the present no more. His future got snuffed out in the past. To say everything happens for a reason. We hear the term everything happens for a reason. But what about the term that when something doesn't happen, that's for a reason too? Certain things don't happen for a reason. We focus on the reason why things happen instead of focusing on the reason why things didn't happen, because a lot of times when things don't happen, we don't even know that it didn't happen because we weren't thinking about that. I'm hoping I'm making some sense. Until after the fact, we might say, well, you know, I say that now, man. But if I would have changed that or went back and did that, man, who knows where I would be? And that's the truth. but it's a curiosity that everybody, I guess, naturally has. But a bigger question would be, even those who may believe in the concept of traveling back, my question would be to you, how would you do it? How would you travel back? What would be the mechanism that would allow you to access a particular timeline that you're trying to get to? What would be that mechanism? Because we watch too much TV. So the first thought would be, oh, well, you got to have a time machine. On TV, they got a time machine. Hey, man, y'all hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's even these likes out, man. Take these likes into the future. Help these likes time travel into the future. We watch a lot of TV. So we think, we talk about that concept of time travel, but we never entertain that question of what would be the mechanism that we would use to access the point in time where we're trying to go. How are you going to get there? If you believe it's true, if you believe you can do it. I haven't seen a time machine on the market that's invented yet. Okay. No, because everything that happens is for a reason. With one decision, we simultaneously open and close an infinite amount of possibilities. And that's the theory. That's one of the theories. It's like you can mess up everything by tampering with one thing. Because we would be focused on what we're trying to do for ourselves, right? That's how we are. We're selfish creatures. So I'm going back in time to fix some stuff in my life, to make things better in my life. That's why I'm going back. But I'm just playing the role, playing the game like if you could really do this, right? So you go back and you fix it. But then it has an effect on somebody else who benefited from the way that it originally was. And their offspring benefited from that. And somebody else benefited from that. It was spread out. Now that's been cut off because you went in and tweaked some stuff to make it right for you. Now things are just going, not only one life is going in a different direction, multiple lives are going in a different direction, because every decision that we make is based on what we have going on with us in the moment. So I'll do this if this happens. Somebody say, well, man, can you help me? Blah, 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 blah. Hey, man, I don't have no money. But if this guy comes through with this money he says he's going to give me, then I can blah, 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 blah. So the guy comes through with the money. Now you're able to do it. You just help somebody else. But the guy don't come through with the money. I couldn't do it. Now he has to make another decision based on now what he's going to do now, because what he hoped you could help him do, you can't. And your decision changed because you were not able to help him because what you thought would come through didn't. Every fragment of time in every decision is based on what's going on within those fragments. Am I making sense? Texas T says every situation has infinite possible outcomes, and infinite comes from that, and so on and so on. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. I mean, it's like this thing just can ripple out. One move. Hey man, smoke this. You ain't never smoked nothing before. Now you at the fork in the road. You're at the valley of decision. Okay, well, I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh man, you're gonna feel, man, you're gonna be feeling, you're gonna be great. Just smoke it, bro. Just try it. Nah, I ain't gonna try it. So you decide not to try it, and you go about your normal life. Go to school, get a degree, start a family. Things are cool. But then rewind back. Hey man, smoke this, man. You don't like it? Okay, I'll do it. Uh-oh. That was something special that was in that, what they told you to smoke. Now you strung out. You messed your head up and rewired your brain and went crazy. You like can't get right. Now you're on a spiral, a downward spiral. You're doing all kind of other stuff. You out there bad. Whole nother direction. Because of decisions in the moment. So how would you get back if you could go back? How would you get back? And if you say, I'm holding that, I'm still holding that. But how would you get back for those who believe in that? Let me read some of these comments. Baptism says through my ancestor mind. What does that mean? What do you mean? You said you would go back through your ancestor mind. What does that mean? How would you do that? First, you got to tell me what it means, and you still got to tell me how you would do it. Do you believe in time travel? Well, we already have pretty much agreed, most of us. I didn't see nobody disagree. Maybe I missed it. We've already pretty much agreed that you're traveling through time right now. You're moving forward right now. So in the forward direction, yeah, okay, you can time travel. But that backward direction, that's a whole other ball game. People believe that the CIA has technology. They believe that NASA has technology that would allow that. Some people have even went so far as to say that the aliens. We'll get me started on that. Well, see, the aliens from other worlds, they represent the future. They're coming back to. I don't know about that. DJ Rick's The Reaction says, yes, time travel is real. Elaborate. Everybody who says it's real, elaborate. We know it's real in the forward direction. What do you mean? Ramadan Mubarak, AQG. How's Ramadan? It's fine. Got to get up on my reading. How did they do it in the Interstellar movie? How'd they do it? Text? How'd they go back? I'm just trying to challenge y'all. Universal Mother of All says, I thought we was aliens. They'll tell us that in certain circles. It's a real popular show that comes on called Ancient Aliens. And they talk about how the aliens came and did this and made the pyramids and all that. But what's the definition of an alien? When we say we're aliens or somebody is an alien, what's the definition? Does it just mean a being from another world, or what's the definition of what is an alien? Somebody go pull up the dictionary's official definition of alien. Steve Urkel had a machine, huh? That's what I asked. I asked what would be the means by which you would execute your time travel. TV would show you a time machine, but we all know that that's not. I want the dictionary's definition right now. I don't want y'all's view on it because y'all gonna have so many different things of what an alien is. Alien equals foreign, different. Somebody go to the dictionary. Is this from the dictionary? Isn't God an extraterrestrial in a respectful way? Uh, God is a supreme being. What is the definition of terrestrial? See, we're in a classroom, y'all. We're going to do some classroom stuff. I need somebody to go to the dictionary and give me the dictionary's definition of alien, and to go into what Luis is saying, the dictionary's definition of terrestrial. Because there's a word placed that's applied to the front of that word, extraterrestrial, right? So you see words like, you have ordinary, but then you have extraordinary, which means extraordinary. I mean, they got some extra sprinkling season on them, right? So if you're an extraterrestrial, what is the definition of terrestrial? So I'm assuming this is terrestrial. It said belonging to, characteristic of, or constituting another very different. Oh, this is alien. Another very different place, society, or person. Strange, synonym, foreign, dissimilar, inconsistent. Okay, so that don't have to apply to somebody from another world. That could be your next door neighbor. Your next door neighbor could be strange, dissimilar, inconsistent. So I guess in that definition, we could be foreign, alien. We can be alien, different. That's where the term alienated comes from. I just feel so alienated, because you feel different, or people view you as different, so they kind of disassociate themselves with you. So terrestrial is of Earth. Is that the dictionary definition of terrestrial? Or you giving me the definition, but just paraphrase down into. Terrestrial means foreign to our society. So alien and terrestrial have the same definition. So Luis, you asking me, is God extra alien? There's lower life forms and higher life forms. So is it possible to believe that time travel exists, but also at the same time believe that your life, my life, his life, her life is already predetermined? Because some people will say, oh man, all this is already scripted out of what it's going to be, man. Life is already predestined. WNY said fate. Everything's already predestined. So if we resign ourselves to believing that everything is predetermined, or no matter what happens, your script is, your layout is going to be what it is, that would mean, I'm asking, could you feel like that and still believe in time travel? It wouldn't make sense. So deflection, you say that everything is predestined. So that means you don't believe in time travel then. Because what purpose would it serve if everything's predestined anyway? I'm asking questions. I'm not attacking anybody's views. I'm just reading stuff and asking questions based on predestined and predetermined life. That means that would mean, in my opinion, that we are like remote controlled beings, Paul, with no free will. Do y'all agree with that? I believe that God, the creator, gave man free will. So if man has free will, then how is your whole life predestined already? I don't get it. Well, I do get it. I'm just going to explain to you my view of that, because I don't believe that that it's all the way that way or all the way that way. I believe it's somewhere in between, meaning that I believe, this is me, I believe that aspects of our life may be predetermined, may be predestined, but not every detail of it, not every single thing. Now, the complicated part comes in when you have that conversation, in my eyes, because I also believe, like many other people believe, that whatever it is that you do, I do, whatever path that we go down, God already knew we was going to do it before we did it. And he knows how all of our individual stories is going to end. That's why he's the supreme being. But the question comes in now, because people say, well, how does that connect into what you just said? How does that connect into free will? If we got free will to do what we want to do and go the way we, but then you turn around and say, but God already knows what you're going to do. He's the supreme being. He gave you free will, but he knew what you was going to do with it. That's all. He knew what you was going to do. You didn't even know. But he already knew. And part of the giving of the free will to us by God is to give us the opportunity to choose him, to choose his way, to choose his will. You got the choice. Like the song say, you can get with this or you can get with that. But I don't believe every part of it is predestined. I believe that there are certain things that he gave us the talent that we are born to do. Things that we can look at and say, man, this is your gift. You were born to do this. Now, how you do it in the midst of that, that's on you. And are there people that he specially designs and prepares for specific missions in life? Yes, I believe that. What is a prophet? Once God, I'm gonna use this term. When he activates a prophet, that prophet is going to do what God commands him to do from his mouth. He's specially prepared or chosen to do a particular work for the Creator. So he's predestined. His path is laid. He still had the free will within it to move and maneuver in certain ways. But we ain't prophets. No, I ain't. I don't even like when people try to call me a prophet. They'll listen to some rap I made. Oh man, you're a prophet. No, I'm not. Ever called me a prophet. That's not a title that I can give to myself, and it's not a title that I can give to anybody else, or anybody else should try to give to me. A prophet has the power of prophecy, to prophesy. I ain't got that power. What kind of time wall? What kind of wall would you have to break through to go back into time? Let's play some games real quick. Let's go into the TV. Yoli Yoli. Yoli Yoli in the building, y'all. And this is an interesting point. We'll come back to breaking through the time wall in a second. But Yoli said, I used to think I was predestined to fail in a lot of things in life until I started meeting God halfway. See, that is part of the free will. That's part of the mind's ability to either take us in a positive direction or a negative direction. But if you had a thought that you were predestined to fail, it could have been based on past experiences where things didn't go right, or you had some hardships. And so now a pattern starts to settle into your mind, and nothing that I do works out right. Everything I try to do just fails. So this is going to fail too. Those are life circumstances. Those are things on our base level that affect our thought process. So you reverse that by saying, no matter how bad things get, I'm going to do my best to keep a positive attitude and positive spirit and work through the problem to get to the solution, to get to the light at the end of the tunnel, and hope that that light ain't a train. That is, you time traveled in that moment because your mind was at one point in one way of thinking. That's where your mind was locked into one way of thinking, and you moved it past that way of thinking into a higher vibration, as they like to say. I'm vibrating on a high level, brother. So you got to vibrate on a higher level. They telling the truth. They telling the truth. But the scientists and the physicists and all of them, they have these different theories about if you speed of light and parallel universes and Rick and Morty infinite timeline concepts. I like Rick and Morty. You like Rick and Morty? There are like infinite versions of us. So that didn't just come from Rick and Morty. That came from somebody theorizing that concept of saying like their belief is that you, me, somewhere in this vast universe, there are countless versions of you, your family, and they're all in different parts of the universe living their life, just like you in this part of the universe living your life, and possibly those timelines can merge if we're able to figure out how to access the ability to merge those timelines. And y'all believe in that? And is that the same as a parallel universe, or is that different? Because a parallel universe, just on a surface, in my mind, sounds just like your reality and a duplicate reality coexisting. See? That's what a parallel universe, or maybe just two different universes, two different versions of the same reality traveling in a parallel path. I don't know. I'm just talking. But I'm trying to make us open our minds and understand or look at things in a different way. We ain't got to smoke weed to have these kind of conversations. We ain't got to smoke weed to have these kind of conversations. I'm reading y'all's comments now. Do you believe in time travel? I guess I got to ask the question. We got a few people in here now. Y'all hit the like button if you haven't already. You'd not like to at least get to 100 likes. I'm just happy y'all up with me this late because I just wanted to talk my talk at 1 in the morning. And here we are. So when I asked this question, y'all answer the question, yes or no. Do you believe in time travel from the standpoint of being able to somehow travel back? We've already established that we already moving forward through time. We already got that down pat. Do y'all believe that we can travel back? Appreciate the love, Yoli. I missed your donation. Do you believe that we can travel back? Yes or no? You remember back when you was in elementary school and you had a crush on somebody in the classroom and you sent them a note? Do you like me? Circle yes or no. Then she circled no. You was sick. You was wounded when she circled no. So who believes in it? That you can travel back through time? And I'm going to ask another question. Can a human be a prophet? All the prophets was humans. Who you thought the prophets was? Koala bears, Z? Let me catch up. Ralph says yes. He believes you can time travel backwards. I think that's what y'all are answering yes or no to. Let me make sure. Yes, yes. Abdul Aziz says no. Vince asked me the question that I asked him. Phantom Face, nope. Paul says after you die. Animanarchy says apparently some particles have been sent back in time. How they do that? Teleportation. Let's talk about teleportation. I asked y'all what are some of the mechanisms that you would be able to access time travel through. TV shows will say a sci-fi movie will show you a time machine or to show you a teleportation device. Somebody said something about a portal. How do you get this stuff? Sounds good. Sounds good. Ooh, you got to use a portal. Where you gonna get it from? Anybody got them? The Walmart sell portals? Can you go on Amazon and order you a time machine? You're gonna come home from work tomorrow. You can order the time machine. It's gonna be a time machine in front of your door. Amazon and dropped off the time machine. Or you're gonna order your time machine. Amazon gonna drop it off, and your neighbor gonna steal it from in front of your porch. Third Vine says, in a way. What's the way? Nah. You can't straddle a fence, Third Vine. Okay, you said yes through imagination. Okay, now we coming somewhere. We starting to get there. Because I told y'all at the beginning, I would explain to you my theory. So we getting there. Diesel Water says the consciousness lives in its own time, in all time simultaneously. So it lives in its own time, in all time simultaneously. So you can go forward or backwards through memories. Okay, now I wrote a song where I spoke about that. I wrote a song where I talked about being able to travel back into time from a personal standpoint through memory and recollection, right? That I wrote a song. I wrote a song talking about that. Don't remember what song it was. Don't recollect. Maybe y'all know. But that only applies to your personal life, your life. Of course, I can sit back and think about how good that fish sandwich I had last 2 years ago was. I went to one time, this is a true story, y'all. I went to uh, Indianapolis, Indiana. This was back in the late 90s. I was out there visiting my homies, my homie Ken Mo and Hella Tight, RIP to the homie Hella Tight. And they took me to this Muslim restaurant. The name of the restaurant was called Respect for Life. And when I tell you, this is in the late 90s. If I had to make a top 10 list, you know, y'all like to list the top 20 rappers of all time, the top 10 basketball players of all time. If I had to make a top 10, 20 list of the top meals that I ever had in my life, that would make the list. Man, that food was so good. It was flawless. You ever ate a meal that was flawless? Everything was perfect. The fish was perfect. At that time, I didn't even like cabbage. I ate the hell out that cabbage. The cabbage was malto-meal bread, brown rice. I mean, this meal was flawless. And for years, me and the homie Brain there, we would bring that up because he was with me. We was out there together. And we would bring up, man, that respect for life. So we would revisit that in our mind. And the way the mind works is that you can conjure up a memory in your mind where you was playing basketball. Yeah, I remember that time I dunked on old boy over there at the other gym. Yeah, and everybody remember. Everybody travels back in the time to remember that memory. But it's a different kind of level when you have a memory when you can actually smell and taste what you had, some food. Whew. So to get to where I wanted to go to in the beginning, but I wanted to wait. Who haven't hit the like button yet, man? Let's get to 100 likes. We almost there. We only need 18 more likes. Get me to 100. If y'all haven't hit that like button yet, go ahead on and click it now for your boy. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. Then I can just give y'all my angle on time traveling backwards or forward. See, the prophets, they could see ahead. See, we talked about moving ahead just based on living, just being alive. You're going to naturally move forward into the future. You're going to travel through time. But the prophets were given the ability by God to see ahead. So they could vividly see tomorrow clearer than we see yesterday. Because they had a job, they had a purpose to tell and warn the people what was to come, to give the people opportunity to get it right or get out the way or whatever, right? That's a different level. But they saw it. So in that regard, they time traveled. Because if you can live in a time where certain things and certain technologies don't even exist, not only do those things and technologies not exist, but they have not even been conceived in the minds of the people who currently live in that pocket of time. So the prophet sees things. So if you're a prophet 3,000 years ago and you prophesying and you looking at today and you seeing the people in airplanes, you seeing people communicating on cell phones, you see people doing what we doing right now. Y'all are wherever you at, any part of the world, looking at me on a screen, talking to y'all, and y'all talking back to me. That's something that would not even be fathomable to the human mind 3,000 years ago on average. I feel like there were certain technologies that existed, whether in the mind or whatever, back then that are probably more advanced than what we got right now. And whatever we have right now may be built on the foundation of something that was greater then. But for the most part, a lot of the things that they saw, they had not experienced or seen those things in their world in their lifetime. But the prophet had that ability. The prophets had that ability. That's what prophecy is. You're seeing forward. Prophesying, you're seeing the future. Even though some prophecies are conditional. But that's another story. Give me 8 more likes, man. You got 8 more people that haven't clicked like yet? Do we got 8 more likes? And I can break this thing down from my point of view. Six more. Since our spirit never dies and we're here, aren't we just reliving? Well, I don't know if I can say that we are reliving, because reliving would mean, or beg the question, reliving what? But it would also, it may also ask the question, because some people say reliving in terms of coming back and duplicating the exact life that we are living right now, like we in a loop, like we're in some kind of loop. I don't know if that's what you meant, but even people who believe in reincarnation, like somebody mentioned something about reincarnation on my last live, reincarnation, that they feel like, okay, well, my name's Bob today, but I'll be an octopus when I come back next time. I could be a freaking caterpillar when I come back next time. I don't believe in that. And if you believe in that, that's on you. But what are the intricacies of that concept? Meaning that, so when you come back as the caterpillar, did you know who you was back then? The caterpillar somewhere talking to other caterpillars in caterpillar communication language, going, man, bro, this time last year I was a human. Man, no, for real, bro. I was a human this time last year, man. You see how them humans walking around? Acting like they want to step on us, bro. This time last year, I was a human, man. I had a wife. It's crazy, man. Then one of the caterpillars, they gonna believe you. So what is it like being a human? Bro, man, you got this body, man. I was about 6'2". And the food is different, bro. It's like, you know, we eat the stuff we eat down here. We eat dirt and microorganisms and whatever. I don't know what caterpillars eat, y'all. I'm sorry. But man, when I was a human, they got some stuff. It's called pizza. Man, I ate this pizza, man. I used to eat it all the time, man. Hamburgers. They had this stuff called weed. You used to smoke it, bro. Oh, bro. So what are the intricacies of reincarnation? Because if you believe in reincarnation, somebody would have to have the ability to offer some type of proof. Who could prove the truth of reincarnation other than somebody who had been reincarnated? Now, I know what you're thinking. It didn't have to be the caterpillar. It could be a human, it could be a dude or a female that you work with that tells you, instead of the caterpillar telling you they used to be a human telling you they used to be a caterpillar. So that creates that concept of like, well, no, in a past life, I was a wolf and I would roam the plains. And no, you weren't a wolf in your past life. You smoked something or chewed on something that made you believe you was a wolf. And now you're trying to pass that over to us. But I will say this, because I'll be wrong if I didn't. The closest thing that I would agree as it relates to Fathom Face said he was a honey badger back in the days, man. That honey badger, bad dude. Okay, y'all got me to 100 likes. The closest thing that I would say that would be comparable, that would be on the same kind of explanation as what some believe to be reincarnation, that I've subscribed to, is like universal mother of all said the spirit never dies. The essence in you and us never die. But I believe that it's taken back up to the creator because it's his in the beginning. He gave it to us. So he takes it back and brings it back to himself and may redistribute it through your bloodline. I believe that. That boy Fathom Face said he was a honey badger back in the days, boy. I seen a honey badger do some incredible stuff, man. So, as far as the concept of time travel, let me give y'all my theory on it. I ain't saying I made this up, but I didn't get it from nobody. I didn't hear nobody say it. It just came in my head, but I'm sure, you know, they say nothing new under the sun. I'm sure somebody has spoke on this and has maybe even did full-on lectures on it. Maybe have went deep into the science of it. How much, I'm asking this question, how much of the human brain do they tell us that we are able to access? Who can answer that question? How much of the human brain do they tell us that we are able to access? Okay. Andrew says 10%. Diesel says 15%. And Jabrain said 100%. 10%, 10%. Okay. The general thing popping off so far is 10%. I ain't talking about dolphins, Luis. I said us, man. You done went into the dolphins. Is that a reincarnated dolphin? So people are saying 10. What's up, mirror, mirror? Somewhere 5. Okay, I see 5-ish. Okay, 10%, 10%. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I've heard. I've heard that the average human accesses about 5 to 7% of their brain. I also heard, mirror, mirror, you still got my email address? Email me tonight. I've also heard that the average human, 5 to 7%. That's just the average cats like me and you. Or maybe y'all, not me. I'm just playing. But I heard it said that a genius, an individual who is considered to be a genius, can only get 10. Only get to 10% of their brain. And this is a genius. This is the 8-month-old baby who can already play Beethoven on the piano. This is the 2-year-old who's already doing calculus. And they're only getting 10. They're only accessing 10% of 100% of a brain. This is your brain, not on drugs. This is your brain. This is 100% of the mass that is your brain, and the mind and the consciousness and all that is housed inside of this brain. You are only using this little piece right here. So the question always comes up, what about the rest of that? What abilities would we have, or could we have, if we were able to access? This is all we got. We got this 10%. I mean, I'm gonna get everybody in here genius. We all got 10%, right? The rest of that 90. You know what that's like? I'm gonna give you an analogy. We live on a planet that has different land masses, right? What we call continents. Within those continents, we have what's been created as countries, nations, right? Within those nations, we have states. In those states, we have cities and all this different stuff. So you live in the city that you live in. But for example, you are an individual, you've never left your state. You live in Texas. You've never left outside of the borders of Texas. You've never been to Louisiana. You've never been to Kentucky, New Mexico, California. You have not accessed anything except little tiny Texas as it relates to the whole world. For my flat earthers, the whole globe, right? The globe behind me right there, right? So there are things that exist in other parts of the world that you can't even fathom because you've never seen them. You've never been to it. So you go there and it's like, wow. I saw a picture. I don't know if this picture is real or not, but tell me if y'all saw this. There was a picture of like an ocean. And within that one ocean, there were 2 streams of water in that one ocean, and they connected, but the 2 streams of water looked totally different. Y'all ever saw that before? Who saw that? I forgot where it was, but the two, they merge. These 2 bodies of water merge, and they don't even intermingle. The water that's going this way is and the water that's this side is this side. Now they said it has something to do with the composition of the water. Like if it's salt water, it's not going to integrate with. I don't know, but I saw that on a picture because we got the internet now. But what if you couldn't see that on the internet and you traveled and you saw that? You would be like, wow. There are wonders of the world that you can't even explain. What if you never visited the pyramids before? Or you never heard of the pyramids? You don't even know what the pyramids are. That's what it's like not being able to access the rest of that brain. Because if you could, it opens up a whole new world. So my thought is, if you were able to access certain parts of your brain, could it be possible that there's a part of our brain that would give us the ability to tune in on a particular period of time, and maybe you could just kind of just zone out and say, you know what? I want to see how they built the pyramids. I want to go back to that time in Egypt where they were building these pyramids so I can witness it with my own third eye. And you could call that into existence through your mind and travel back to where you could go into that time period and see it. But you're still right here though. So you're traveling because maybe, this is just me now, don't go back and say that I said this come from anything other than me. Because maybe you have those powers in your mind, you just haven't been able to access that region that gives you that ability. Do that make sense? Do that sound logical to y'all? I'm just asking, do I sound crazy when I say that? If you decide, Abdul Aziz, I read something, I saw something earlier where they was talking about time travel in the Quran, but I didn't get into that because I don't play around with stuff like that I don't know. But this is the second time I've seen that, so maybe I should try to study it or ask somebody who's more knowledgeable about that type of stuff than me, because I don't do no conjecture and all that when it comes to the Holy Quran. I'm not going to ever do that. This is from the book of K-Rino right now. So yeah, I appreciate that. So maybe, like you say, I can pull out this remote and go to the guide on the TV and access a particular channel that I want to see. All of these things and these technologies that we see are created from concepts that already existed in the human mind. TV, radio, internet, FaceTime, all this different stuff. These are concepts that already exist in our mind. We just brought them into a physical reality. So the same way you turn the dial, I'm old school, on the radio to find the station that you're looking for, could we do that with historical moments? And then you are able to do a playback or witness a playback of how it really was. So when they go into the history books and they tell lies and say different things that was this way or that way in history, and you're like, ah, man, they lying. Let me go back and see what really happened. Oh man, Jesus was black. Jeremy says Nikola Tesla. What y'all think about my theory before I go into Jeremy's comment? Because the power of the mind is so heavily underestimated. So I believe that it could be possible that you could access backwards time travel this way. Jeremy said Nikola Tesla predicted the cell phone in 1928. Y'all saw that internet video of that lady in 1928? She was walking and it looked like she had a cell phone. It's a video on YouTube of a lady. Supposedly it was filmed in 1928. It's in black and white. And this guy passes by. Then this lady walks by in 1928 and she walking, like she talking on a cell phone. I don't know what the deal was, but it was kind of funny to me. Adam Head says water is key in my personal theory. It's everywhere and had been proven to have memory. Water also has so many molecules that we today are drinking the same water that, look, you might be on to something, Adam, especially that second part. Now, I've never heard or read anywhere where it says water has memory. That's an interesting concept. I would like to hear some more detail on that, more elaboration on water having memory, because I know that water is life, period. But the second thing that you said water has so many molecules that we today are drinking the same water that the ancients drank. Now that's an interesting thing. I see it. I thought of the concept of possibly us drinking the same water over and over again based on um, how rain is formed in the world, period. Meaning that if there's a body of water on the planet, and so teaches the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he talks about the sun and the moon's attracting power on the bodies of the earth, the bodies of water on the earth. So it pulls the water up. The sun and the moon pull the water up in a fine mist, right? We can't see it with our eyes, but the sun and the moon pull the water up. And then once it gets up into a certain height into the sky, and then it formulates the clouds and does what it do atmospherically, then the rain comes back down. Now, however you drink the water, and whatever you do with the water, that liquid, I don't want to be gross, but I'm just saying that when you expel water in whatever form you expel it from, when it's going up in that mist, it's purifying, then it comes back down again. So we could be drinking the same water over and over again. But that was interesting. The part about the water having memory, that's interesting too. My boy Big Ock done slipped in the room. But a bigger question is, why is it that we are only able to access 5 or 10% of our brain? Why can't we get the rest of it? I got a theory on that too. Boy, if they let that kind of power get in the hands of one of y'all, if it land in the wrong hands, whoo, you got to be special to have that kind of power. Because one of y'all Negroes gonna try to take over the world, boy. So yeah, it might be a good thing I've figured out how to access 100% of my brain. Gonna take over. Ooh, don't, bro, your baby mama better not be mad at you when she figure out how to access 100% of her brain, boy. She just gonna she gonna levitate you up and just whoa, throw you to Venus. She gonna throw you to Venus. She gonna let your whole body just get consumed by the storms of Jupiter. She gonna pass you all the way through Jupiter and pull you back, reassemble you. Some of y'all would do evil if y'all could access that much of y'all brain. That's why. Y'all wouldn't use it for good. Y'all wrong for that. But I just believe that the mind would have the ability to access those events. Now, the difference is you would not be, from what I'm thinking, you would not be in a physical presence by accessing it like that. So from that standpoint, this is me, y'all. From that standpoint, you would not be able to alter any events. You would only be able to witness the events, right? You'd just be able to witness. You'd be like a fly on the wall. But if you got 100% of your brain, maybe there is a department that could put you in a physical state in that travel where you could communicate with those people. Maybe. Just my theory. This just the book of K-Rino, man. Don't go back and say I got this from somebody. I'll tell you what I got from where, if I got it. This is my stuff I'm just thinking of. So I could be way off. But that just makes sense to me. Knowing that we're not using our full capacity. So it'd be almost as if you appear as a hologram. But if you appeared as a hologram, you know what they would call you if you went back and started talking to them? You know what they call you? They call you a ghost. It's a ghost. You'll be the ghost of Christmas future. Because you would be coming from the present, which would be their future. Man, let me shut up. Let me shut up, man. Yeah, so the lady with the cell phone, supposed cell phone in 1928, they said she was a time traveler. They even said she had an iPhone. You couldn't see nothing but her hand. Maybe she was scratching her ear. Who knows? I don't know. The first time travel story was in the Hindu religion 800 years before Christ existed. You think it was that soon? That recent? So 800 years before Christ existed would be 2,800 years ago. You think it was that recent? Or do you think that people have entertained this concept? If people have been in existence for trillions and trillions of years, you think that the first time that this concept was visited by humans was only 2,800 years ago? I don't know. I think that a lot of these concepts we entertain go back. I also believe that there were civilizations long before us that were way more intelligent, way more advanced mentally than us. We think that we're advanced. Y'all better be careful eating on the mushrooms. We can, but we have to tap into the subconscious mind. I mean, yeah, you would have to see, there's so much poison in our heads, right? There's so many things that are blocking us from having just regular clear thoughts. You know, you see people that's, I can't, hold on, man. Y'all shut up, man. I can't think clear. This just on regular stuff that they trying to calculate things and figure stuff out. Man, I'm trying to calculate these bills for the month. Y'all shut up in there. Our heads and minds are so clouded with so much toxic information that we intake on a regular basis. The ratio of toxicity in terms of information compared to positive and good information, the toxicity levels are way up here. We hear way more mess, drama, controversy, lies, corruption. We see this stuff, we hear this stuff, we listen to this kind of music, we watch these kind of movies, we use these kind of drugs, we act on these types of impulses. The toxicity level is way up. So there's an overload, there's a toxicity overload in our mind that would naturally box out, like you playing basketball, box out any of the good thoughts or any type of heavy wave of good thoughts coming into your mind. So you can't think clear. Too much going on. We're on social media being corrupted by everything we watch. And we want to watch the worst stuff. We want to watch the worst stuff. We gravitate towards the worst stuff. So how can you access the godly aspects of your mind and your consciousness when it's buried under all that trash? It's the God in you is buried under the trash, trying to dig his way out. Like, what is this? So yeah, the ratio is way off. And that's not even going into food. I'm talking about the mental toxins, the spiritual toxins. I ain't even got into the physical toxins, just the way we eat, and like I say, all the other stuff we put into our body. See, because those things affect the way we think. I'm gonna go eat these pig feet. So I'm getting ready to go eat these pig feet. These are the feet of an animal. These feet that I'm getting ready to eat have been walking in all kind of mud and slop, all kind of grimy crap. I'm getting ready to eat these. I'm finna eat these pig snouts. That's the nose for people you might not know. This the same nose that was all in the slop and all in the nasty mud and eating, sniffing out the nasty stuff that they can sniff out to eat. I'm getting ready to eat that. I'm gonna eat this hog head cheese. We got the whole, man, one of the most traumatizing things I've ever seen in my life. I was walking through the grocery store years ago. I seen a whole section of whole hog heads in full hog head form. I'm like, what are y'all getting ready to do with that? Guy told me, oh man, we can make hog head cheese. And last but not least, I'm gonna go eat these chitlins. I'm gonna go eat these chitlins on these boys. I'm gonna take that C off chitlins and put that S right there. I'm finna go eat the intestines. I'm going to go and eat the carrier of all of the nasty stuff that the pig was sniffing around with his nose and walking around with his hand, and now it's consumed it, and all of that has went into these tubular intestines, that feces that forms the feces in the body and the toxins and the nasty waste. I'm going to go and eat this, put a little hot sauce on it, and at the same time have the nerve to think that my thoughts are going to be in order. And that's just the pig. That's just the pig. So I'm eating the worms, all that stuff. Oh, no, my bad. I forgot. My fault. Oh, you cleaned it out first. You cleaned it out first. So it's okay to eat these chitlins. I'm from the South, man, so chitlins is like a thing out here. I'm pretty sure they eat chitlins in every area for us, black folks. Any area where black folks is in, I'm sure they eat chitlins. But everybody eating pig in some form, no matter what race or nationality you are. But me being from the South, man, I can remember walking inside of a house and smelling them chitlins boiling, and it's smelling like somebody just got through destroying somebody's bathroom, right? Why would you want to? Why would you want to eat something that takes that long to supposedly remove the waste from? So in order for me to eat this nasty stuff, I got to boil it for however long. And the whole time it's boiled, you smelling it. Make no mistake what that smell is. And once it's good, chitlins. Come on, man. Then we wonder why we messed up in the head. Come on, man. Well, I'll tell you like I tell everybody else. You may love it, but it don't love you. So remember that. Remember that. You can love something that don't love you. You can love people that don't love you. And you think it's all good because it tastes good. But what I can explain to you about this world that we live in my hand, I hold a Sharpie. They can take the top of this Sharpie, right? There's a way that they can just put about 90 of these in some form of mix, and they can do something to them and change and make this into a food and season it, do whatever they got to do to it, and make it taste good. They can make it taste good. I don't mean you're supposed to eat it. It's a mistake. Don't justify eating something bad for you because of how it tastes. That don't make it all right. Leave that pig alone. Stop eating pork. My God. Stop eating pork. And I know what you're thinking. Man, you saying that because you a Muslim. Ah, I'm saying it because it's true. Because if you're a Christian, it's forbidden in your book too. If you're a Jew, it's forbidden in your book too. Amen. But I digress. I think we covered everything on the time travel concept. And hope we answered each other's questions, y'all. Hope we answered each other's questions, man. That's my theory on time travel. That's how I look at it. Hope y'all enjoyed it. But you know what? I'm going to tell y'all this real quick, man. Drop y'all locations, man. Let me shout y'all out before I go. Because I appreciate y'all, man. I started this live late, man. And y'all, here we are, man. We almost got like 100 people in here, man. Y'all show some love. But look, hold on, wait a minute. Some of y'all just got here, so hit the like button if you haven't already. Click like if you haven't already. Click the like button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. So I can shout y'all out. Mars, I know I've been slow moving, man, but I got you, man. Click the like button if y'all haven't, man. Do it right now. Mr. Speed Force said you can read that in Leviticus 11 in the Bible. Oh, man, it's a bunch of spots. DT in Melbourne. Nothing to find out in Detroit. Gamer in H-Town. Mars out there in Tucson, Arizona. Mega Man. What's up, Mega Man? ZE in California. God is great, Adam. Tax says, what if the pig only eats clean food? Well, here's the problem with that. In the scripture, it says that the swine flesh is forbidden. Not only should you not eat it, you shouldn't even touch it. So regardless of what you can try to put in it to try to justify why I only feed my pigs the best. My pig is vegan. Don't matter, man. It's a divinely forbidden animal. Hey, look, I'm just telling you. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't be mad at me for telling the truth, because I can't stop you from doing nothing. I'm not going to show up at your house and go in your refrigerator and throw all your swine away. That's something that you have to deal with within your own self, or make the decision to say, hey, man, you know what? I want to try to do, at the very least, I want to try to do what's best for me health-wise. Even if you're not religious or spiritual, you may not attach any spiritual connections to it at all. But I can guarantee you, from a physical standpoint, it ain't an honest doctor in the world that would tell you that eating pork is good for you. Lake Charles in the building, worldwide. Mega Man out there in SoCal. It's me. What's his face out there in Fresno? 559 up in this thing. Hawaii Sustainable. Mahalo. Luis out there in Killer Cali. KS and Temple Tex. Temple TX. Phantom Face out there in Columbus. Tree Guy in California. Universal Mother of All, Philly 215 up in this thing. Big Ock in the South Bronx. Manny Lee, Richmond, Virginia. Osita out there in Waco. What's up, my brother? Oh, man, I always do that. Okay, I'm going to catch back up. I just want to shout y'all out before I go, man. DJ Yee in California. California repping hard. California repping hard. Taxes because of the death. Alaska sticks. Triple X, the OG. Churchill, Tennessee. Solo, you really gonna get in trouble trying to talk about them oxtails, boy. Woo. These days, you have a bigger fight on your hand about them oxtails than the pig. Yeah. Hey, man, we'll be in Denver, Colorado next month. We have 2 shows in Colorado, one on the 21st of next month in Colorado Springs, one in Denver on the 22nd of April. So if you're out in that area, y'all make sure to come down to one or both of them. I'll do a couple of videos to let y'all know. Keep it on your mind. I haven't seen any of my Colorado people in the building other than Yoli. So we'll keep on pushing it and promoting it. No more shout outs. Okay, Anamonarchy, my brother out there in Ontario. Ontario and stereo. Oh, there we go. Let me see. Is that Mussolini? Super serious out there in Chicago. Respect. Diesel water out there in Nebraska. Darian in Opelousas. What up, Dougie Doug? DJ Records in the building. Doug, you up late. Doug up there burning the midnight oil. I ain't think too many of y'all gonna be up tonight with me. I guess I ain't the only late night person. Let's see what we got. I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. Nah, I haven't heard anything on Russ, Rick. I don't know what's going on, man. I just been praying for him. Just keep praying for him. Albuquerque, New Mexico. I see your solo ICP project. Chris Warren. H-Town, Charlotte. Fat Texas up in there. Yeah. Hey, man, y'all have a great night, man. I appreciate the love. Peace.